Hello children. Last time we had already finished with the questions and the assignment that I've given you on the chapter on cell division, and I'd also sent you the answers. I hope you have tallied and cross-checked with the same and written in your copies. Today we are going to start with a new topic, genetics, some basic fundamentals. This is a very interesting topic and I hope you will love studying this, because this has certain number of crosses, certain logical questions later to be dealt up. Before we start the new topic, children, I'll personally ask you to be very regular with the videos that I'm sending you or with the notes that I'm sending you. Kindly keep yourselves updated, because if you miss anything in the chain of the same, you may not understand the further classes. So please be regular. And for those children who do not have these pages, I have already sent you a file of all the text pages to you along with my notes. I hope you have written them. So today we start with genetics, the most interesting world, as I have told you. This is the picture of the person we call as the father of genetics. His name is Gregor Mendel. The history is very old. 1822 it begins. When this father of genetics, he was born in the family of a farmer, and his early education was held in a monastery. Later he studied science and maths, and he wanted to be a teacher, but he did not pass the examination of the teaching certificate. So his first attempt was a failure. He did not succeed. But later on, his work and his credit gave him so much of popularity that he was called as teacher of teachers. And today, we will not be just moved by his first failure, but give him all the credit and how he spent his life later on. See, in this first attempt, when he failed in the teaching examination, he went to a monastery to lead the life of an abbot. Abbot means a priest. And there in the monastery, he used to sit in the garden during evenings and just watch a plant called as pea plant, the normal pea plant, which is scientifically called as Pisum sativum. And then he just drew his attention to the laws of genetics. So what is genetics, children? Genetics, it is the study of transmission of body features, both similarities and differences, from parents to offsprings, and the laws relating to such transmission. So these you have already received, children, these notes. I'm explaining the same. All right. So this is the transmission. See, whatever we are, children, we are a mixture of our genes of our father and our mother. It's exactly 50% of whatever we are, our looks, our hair, our eyes, skin color, and to some extent, of course, intelligence. And most of the things are a mixture of our parents through the bearers of heredity, that is genes. Another term called genetic engineering first. Genetic engineering, before you understand this, look at this diagram. It's a very simple diagram of a bacterial cell. You've studied this. This is an outline diagram I have drawn. I have not drawn all the structure, cell wall, etc. Suppose this is a bacterial cell, right? And this is the nuclear material that is scattered. So this is the nuclear material of the scattered category, along with a structure below this material, or the DNA or the chromosome. It's a circular structure called as plasmid, Plasmid. And this means the circular DNA. This plasmid is a structure in the cell which can replicate or multiply independently of the chromosomes. We have already studied in our last chapter about cell division. Whenever cell divides, the chromosomes, they duplicate. But herein, this duplication has nothing to do with this duplication, right? And this plasmid can be very effectively used as a genetic tool, right? How people they use it? They take out the plasmid and cut a portion. Can you see this clearly? This is a portion of it has been cut and removed, and another portion, which is the desired gene, usually the human gene, it is introduced to make up the previous circle and introduced back into the bacterium. Once again, plasmid removed, cut and paste method of a gene that has been added, and again reverted back to the bacterial cell. This bacterial cell or a bacterium is no more the natural bacterium, but it is modified. What have been modified? The plasmid gene. And this is now called as a GMO. GMO means genetically modified organism. Now you will be finding it very interesting to know this, children, that this is called as genetic engineering, which is very advantageous today in the world of medicines, insulin formation, vaccines, and what many more. Right? There are many more endless list about the vaccines and other medicines. So this genetic engineering, what it is? It is the technique in which genetic constitution of an organism is altered. That is, you have changed it by introducing new genes into the chromosomes. Further which, genetic counseling. Counseling means to discuss. This is a kind of counseling especially for the newly married couples, more prevalent in Western countries, where they are advised to consult a specialist regarding the possibilities of any undesirable trait or a character with which the children might inherit. Suppose a couple is newly married and they want to raise their family further. They want to give birth to the children now. So just to know whether their children would be healthy genetically or not, they are experts that they go to meet and undergo genetic counseling. To avoid genetic diseases like thalassemia, sickle cell anemia with defective hemoglobin, and this can be prevented to some extent. The doctors can tell them, experts can tell them, all right, your children would be a defective one, so obviously they will not go further to give birth to the children. Heredity. Another term is the transmission of genetically based characteristics from parents to the offspring, and this process is called heredity. Variation. Variation is a term, children, which means small amount of differences among individuals. These are called variations. For example, we resemble our parents, true, but somehow we are not exactly like them. So that means there is some variation. Character. Any inheritable feature is called a character. For example, the color of eyes or the texture of hair, the color of skin, etc. Trait. The alternative forms of a character, they are called traits. That is, the eye color could be of various types, brown or blue. So the choices become the trait. But the category eye color remains a character. You'll understand this more clearly by the table below. Inheritance in humans, character and trait. This character list you can easily understand. This depicts the body feature like color of eyes. So the choice would be brown or blue. This becomes the trait. Another character, hair shape, and the trait is curly or straight. Eyebrows as character, the traits would be heavy, bushy or thin ones. Then hair on the middle joint of fingers as a character, sometimes people have it, so there is growth, sometimes they don't, so there is no growth. Color vision as character, so normal vision would be one trait, and color blindness for red and green color would be another trait. Tongue rolling. Now this is a very interesting thing, children. Some people can roll their tongues forming a U, whereas others cannot. And the choice of trait would be rolling or no rolling. Hand use. As a character, some of us are right-handed, so right-handedness or left-handedness becomes the trait. Skin color, when it is the character, albinism is a total loss of skin melanin, right? From the hair, iris of the eye, even skin. And the other choice of trait would be normal skin color. Earlobe. Some of us have attached or free earlobe. That is, attached means it is directly attached. Free means it is free, right? So this is free and this is directly attached. So depending on the characteristic, this is the trait. Lips, sometimes thick or thin. And RH blood group. RH means the rhesus factor blood group, right? Some of us have positive, some of us do not have that factor. We call that blood group as negative. Coming now to a new term called karyotype. First, I'd like to show you this in the textbook. Look at this diagram. This is a karyotype. Now, this is a picture depicting chromosomes. In a human cell, if we talk about, children, I've already told you there are 23 pairs. So look at this, they've been numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on up till 23. Now do you notice that in each number the individual chromosome pairs, these are exactly the same. Like suppose this is the the tall chromosomes or the long ones, these are the shorter ones, or again the medium ones, or so and so. Now karyotype is this entire representation on a chart paper, right? That is, it means photographs which are used for artificially arranging the chromosomes according to their size and shape. Can you notice them? They're the long ones, the medium ones, the short ones. So this arrangement according to their size and shape on a chart, this chart is called as a karyotype. Also children, number 1 till 22, these are called as autosomes, whereas the 23rd pair is the one that is different in males and females, right? XX, it is the female, and X and Y means the male. Also note children, X chromosome is bigger than what is the Y chromosome. A pictorial representation under microscope, which is an actual picture, this tells you how the X chromosome, and this is how the smaller one as the Y chromosome. So I hope you've understood what's a karyotype. Again, the entire representation of photographs according to their shape and size on a chart paper is called as a karyotype. Then coming back to what are homologous chromosomes. Homologous means a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same shape and size, one from each parent. They are called homologous chromosomes. That is, look at them. This will be a homologous pair of chromosome. You can see number 16 or number 4, right? Because they are the same, we can say a same pair having same shape and size, and one from each parent. This is what we say as the homologous pair of chromosomes. Coming to genes. Genes, last time also we have done. They are specific parts or the DNA segments of a chromosome which determine the heredity characteristics. Alright children, so I hope you understood this basic introduction to genetics. First we started with genetics, the genetic engineering, counseling, then heredity, variation, character, trait, the table of character and trait, karyotype, then homologous chromosome and genes. To move further, some more terms. Genome. Genome is the full complement of DNA, including all genes and intergenic regions of an organism. So this genome is the entire set or complement of DNA. Then coming to allele. See children, in the world of genetics, you have to understand, when you're depicting a gene, it has to be written in two ways. Capital means a dominant and small means a recessive. So any gene has two alternative forms. Either you can write in capital or small, and this occupies the same position or locus on homologous chromosomes, affecting the same characteristic but in different ways. First, see this picture. Look at this. This has been shown alternative forms of a gene. This is one position of the homologous chromosome, this is the other. Now this is a capital, capital and small alphabet. A, capital A, small b, capital C and small d. So here also that you can understand is that this is the same type of gene at the same locus. This is also the same. But look at the third one. This is different. If this is capital, then this is small. What does it mean? This is a dominant gene and this is a recessive. Similarly, look at D. This is a small alphabet. This is a capital. This means that this is dominant and this is recessive. So these are called as alleles. So they are the alternative forms of a gene that occupy the same position on the homologous chromosomes and they affect the same characteristic, right, in different ways. Dominant and recessive, I just now told you how each gene has two alternative forms. The superruling or the one that expresses is called dominant and the one that is submissive is called as recessive. Genotype. Always remember children, G for genotype and P for phenotype. This is just a learning technique. Genotype means the type of genetic makeup of an organism, or begin like this. Type of genetic makeup. is called genotype. That is what